Are readers closing your book after the first few pages, or are you hearing that they're just not connecting with the story? You're probably making one of these 3 first chapter mistakes. By the end of this video, you have exactly what you need to write a really compelling first chapter so that readers can't wait to get to the next chapter. The third must-have is the most important, but also the one that most writers miss. The first thing that you may be missing has 3 parts to it. It's the inciting incident, a goal, and an action for the main character. Now, if any of these terms are new for you, no problem. I did a whole masterclass on plot that explains what they are and how they work within a story. Because once you understand the structure of a story, it's a lot easier to write. You may have a great inciting incident. They've been stranded on a desert island, or aliens have invaded, or they've been shipped off to a boarding school. That creates some kind of a goal for the character, something that the character needs to achieve. And here's the key. They have to take action towards that goal. They can't just sit there thinking about it. We want to see characters that move, that act, that do things, that take their lives into their own hands.
If a superhero can't save his family, he's not much of a hero.
We don't like to read about people that just sit around and complain or sit around and think, because that's no fun to watch. So show your character taking some kind of action that feeds into their overarching goal. The writing exercise I want you to do for this is to come up with that action that your character is going to take and write a couple paragraphs about that. Make sure that it feeds into their goal that stretches across the whole book. If they want to, say, escape the boarding school and run home, then there's going to be a bunch of steps involved in that, and those are the actions your character has to take. Write a scene that has them taking that action. The second thing you're probably missing is a hook. Now, hooks can occur anywhere in a book. They can occur in the very first line, the very first paragraph, at the end of the first scene, but I recommend using more than one because the whole goal is to keep the reader turning the pages. You want your reader to be tired at work the next day because they stayed up until 2 in the morning reading your book because they couldn't put it down. How do you know how to write a hook? You study ones that have been done well. For your writing exercise, I want you to pick 3 books off your bookshelf that you could not put down. And I want you to look at the very first page. That's all, just the first page. And see how the author hooked you. Did they throw a dead body on the first page? Did they throw some kind of a mystery on there? Was there some kind of a big drama or a big inciting incident right on that first page? That hook is what will keep the reader turning the pages through the whole chapter and keep them reading the rest of the chapter so that they see how it turns out. Because readers need that curiosity. They need to have tension feeling in their gut where they're like, will it work out? Won't it work out? How's this character going to do this?
I don't know.
They need those in order to keep reading the book. For your writing exercise, pick those 3 books, study those hooks, but most of all, study why you read it. What made you really turn the pages in this? Because once you know that, you can turn around and apply that to your first page. I want you to take the lessons that you learned from that and create a hook on your first page. The third must-have is a reason to care. I know you care about your characters because they're your creation, but you need to give the reader a reason to care about your characters. You need to give them a commonality that they can latch onto. Because we care about people that we see commonalities in, people that suffer from some of the same anxieties or fears or insecurities or make some of the same mistakes. We care about people that are human. So what do you want to do? You want to make your character vulnerable in some way, shape, or form in that very first chapter. You want to give the reader hope that this character is going to achieve their goals. Human beings are messy and complex, and so should characters be.
For your information, there's a lot more to ogres than people think.
And so you want to create a character that has some kind of doubts, insecurities, fears, whatever, already in their genetic makeup. There's a fine line to walk with this between making your character a little bit too needy and then also making them human. Study books that have done it well and characters that you really related to, the characters that you told your friends about. Those are the ones that you want to study. If you look at Monk, for instance, he is an OCD detective. Because of his OCD, he solves crimes. His OCD-ness becomes a superpower for him. But isn't there a little bit of all of us that can relate to Monk's need for structure and for things to be in their right place? I know I can. So for your writing exercise, I want you to write a couple of paragraphs where your character is being a little bit vulnerable or expressing a fear or an anxiety or an insecurity, something that makes them human. These things should all be in your first chapter. They're all must-haves because they create that all-important connection with the reader. And when the reader is connected, the reader cares. And when the reader cares, they keep reading to the end. And the best way to do that is to create a strong foundation for your book. What you're creating here is a framework for keeping the reader invested in the character character and in the story. Understanding the framework is probably the most important thing you're going to have to do as an author before you start writing. You should watch my masterclass on plotting because it lays out that entire framework for you in easy to understand parts, and then also gives you writing exercises for implementing it right now on your book. And then all the other pieces kind of slot in a lot easier. If you struggle with any of this, drop a comment below and I'll probably answer it in a future video. And if you do add an action, a goal, a hook, or a reason to care, let me know how that worked out and how that transformed your first chapter into one that is a must read. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I will see you on the other side of the page.